Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for the Q&A, so let me get my hat on, get to the first question, and let's get this started. Alright, hello Jason, wouldn't it be more beneficial for growth to train chest and bis and back and tris in a workout instead of the usual chest and tris, assuming the individual prefers working out with more a bro split oriented routine, just because the biceps and triceps are so thoroughly worked during the chest and back movements, and now instead of a 48-hour protein synthesis, you're effectively increasing the arm protein synthesis for another day. Alright, here's the problem we run into. I do understand your point about saying, hey, if I'm going to do a bro split, I prefer it. What can I do to maximize muscle growth and whatever it is that I'm doing? What can I do differently? But the problem is the fact that you're choosing a bro split because you prefer that means that you probably prefer your preferences over maximum muscle growth anyway. So it's kind of like it's a catch-22. Like if you really cared about maximum muscle growth, your only real choices would be to go on a bunch of gear because you want to do a bro split, or your choices would be to reconsider using a bro split. So I mean, people train that way, and here's the thing, I don't think people really like training that way. I think they do it because that's what everyone tells them they need to do and they get in the habit of it. But assuming all of that isn't the case, let's assume you legitimately really enjoy training that way. And what I'm always going to tell people, the way that you enjoy training the most is probably going to be good in the long term, even if it's not physiologically the most effective, because you're going to be more consistent. You know what? Consistency trumps everything. Consistency can even trump good programming sometimes. I mean, that's just the reality. Now, good programming combined with consistency is perfect. That's your optimal. That's your ideal. But, you know, consistency is still most important. So looking at your question, yeah, you would effectively be right. You would be right because most back exercises work the biceps to a large extent. So if you did your bicep isolation work separately on your chest day, which works the triceps more, okay, you would probably get a little more bicep muscle protein synthesis uptime. Same thing if you were to train your triceps on your back day because they get so much work on all your chest pressing. That would sort itself out. But again, it would also beg the question of, are you more concerned with arm development than anything else? Because that's what it sounds like. Because if you've got one chest day and one back day every week and there's no other days that are really hitting those, meaning you're not picking exercises that work those effectively, you're still shortchanging your overall torso development. Now, the difference might be, do you do deadlifts on your leg day? Okay, well that will give you 2 different days of back development. That would be one way around it. You could do a split routine like that and still keep good development, and that would make more sense. Then what about the chest? Maybe if you're doing a lot of chin-ups on your back day, and you're doing a lot of overhead pressing with a barbell on your shoulder day, okay, because that will work chest also. So then you would get 2 chest days and 2 back days every week, and that would balance it back out. Then it would make more sense what you're doing as far as the extra arm work. But if you're running something like a 3-day split and you don't deadlift on a leg day, you don't have a separate shoulder day where you do a bunch of overhead pressing, which of course is chest work on top of it, you're going to end up potentially shortchanging your torso development. There's a reason you see a lot of guys who do split routines who end up with a little better arm development than they do with chest and back development. A lot of it has to do with kind of the thing you're describing there. But by that same token, you could also look at it, and even if you say, okay, I want to do a split routine, but I have a body part that's lagging, it could be your biceps. It could be your triceps. It could be your chest. You could come in and do an exercise at the end of every workout for that lagging body part, even if you're on a split routine, because you're saying you do split routines because you enjoy them more. Well, if you're doing them just because you enjoy them more, there's no reason you have to only do that body part on the day that you're training it, right? There's no reason you have to. There's no rule set in stone unless you're really fucking autistic that says, I have to only train chest on my chest day. Well, if your biceps are really lagging, you could throw in a set of curls after that. After you squat on your leg day, you could do a set of curls or 2 afterwards. If your biceps are really lagging in a priority muscle, there's no reason not to train them at the end of every workout. that will actually give you the best results. To come in and train a lagging body part more frequently, no matter what your split has going on, is still always the best solution. And that's something to keep in mind anyways. I'm just throwing that out there. All right, next question. Hi Jason, do you believe on eating specific foods, or would I say prioritizing certain macros according to our blood type? I often hear that it may lead to better energy levels and better moods in general. So what's your take on that? Thank you. I think blood type specific diets are one of the most insane bullshit pseudoscience diet ideas that has ever made it into books that people buy. I think this idea was created purely to sell diet books a couple generations ago. And it's back from earlier science when we realized, hey, people have different blood types. We can see in a microscope. So the idea started going around that blood type is really, really important, or something, that it has some meaning beyond just blood compatibility for blood transfusions. I mean, all sorts of even fantasy type and horror type novels have been written about it way before you were ever born. All right, vampire stuff about, blood type or whatever. Once we discovered it, became the area of myth and lore, not just science. Well, you know the reality? Your blood type literally means almost nothing outside of blood compatibility and occasional compatibility issues with blood barriers in the womb for babies. All right, there's problems associated there with certain blood types, but it affecting your diet, complete nonsense. Complete nonsense. There's zero research to back it. There's zero evidence. In all the years we've known about blood type and all the years that we've had the ability to do blood testing and blood work and scientific study on humans, we have never found any evidence whatsoever that blood type is important to what sort of diet you select. And here's the thing. Since the scientists have never found anything measurable here, what makes you think that some kook who just came up with the theory in a book, even if there was some truth to it, even think about that, even if there was truth to this idea, magically somehow, what would be the odds that someone randomly in their head made up what sort of diet would go best with a blood type that they would actually get it right? It's like 1,000,000 to fucking 1. Because they're not basing it on science, because the researchers can't find it, they can't see anything. So if there is some truth to it, no one actually knows. So therefore, the people writing the books, odds are they have it wrong. So it's bullshit. Wouldn't even consider it. All right, next question. Jason, you explained in some videos how overeating have positive effects in building muscle and recovery, regardless of the bad aspects of it. Does overeating could have positive effects on injury recovery as well? For example, lower back issues, broken bones, connective tissue, etc. Yes and no. That's actually a good question because, yeah, you are right. There are anabolic effects to overeating. But what you've got to think of with injuries, certain injuries, things like elevated IGF-1, even a little more circulating insulin, various nutrients in your bloodstream can help with certain types of injuries. They can definitely help with certain types of injuries. So, what you've got to consider there is not so much that overeating is going to help, only if you're concerned with some sort of nutritional deficiency. Because maybe you're not getting enough magnesium or calcium in your diet, and overeating a little more calories could help you get that. That could help with healing a bone fracture faster. Again, a little bit more IGF-1 from a little more carbs in your diet might help with a soft tissue issue in the muscle. All right, so you've got those things going on, and that's possible, but here's the thing. I wouldn't worry about overeating so much for helping with an injury. I wouldn't really do it that way. What I would consider is that if you have an injury that you want to recover from, just make sure you don't have any nutritional deficiencies and make sure you're not in a caloric deficit. Like losing weight is going to put you at the highest risk of not getting enough nutrients to heal an injury. Make sure that you're maintaining your body weight. Make sure that you're getting a decent balanced diet. And that's probably the best thing you can do on your diet end to help recover with an injury. Because ultimately, when you're putting not enough energy into your body to handle all of its needs, which is when you lose weight, that's when you might be shortchanging an injury. And because, again, as calories come down, what happens? You get less total nutrients. You have a higher chance of having a deficiency. But no, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that you go in bulk and gain a bunch of weight to help heal an injury, that's probably not ideal. Definitely not ideal for your health. Certainly not ideal for your health, because if you have any injury you're trying to recover from, you're going to be training less hard. You're going to gain muscle more slowly, which means body fat's going to come easier when you overeat. So just getting fat for the sake of trying to heal an injury isn't ideal. But if you've got an injury, certainly you need to stop cutting. You need to stop losing weight until something like that recovers, and just make sure that you're eating a well-balanced, healthy diet with plenty of vegetables and stuff in it. That would be the best thing you could possibly do there. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.